All right, what's up, everybody? I know you guys have been waiting on this video for the absolute longest. Finally, glad to be back up inside of this thing, man. It's Mark Antimate with another episode of Gentleman Masterclass, your host with the most. And what do I even say? Where do I begin? I got more moon swatches than, well, I want to say I got more because there's people that got the whole set. Let me say it like this. I've been to more moon swatch releases than probably anybody else inside the world. I'm not talking about just going inside of the store and buying a piece or buying two or going week after week and keep collecting them until you finally get all the infinity stones gathered up and all that stuff. I'm saying when the watch was first announced, I was there at the very first release in Japan. When they announced the Moonshine Gold version of the watch, I was there for that release. And for like the first four subsequent releases of the Moonshine Gold, when they're releasing all the different chronograph hands and all that, every single month, I was there at those two. And let me just say that I was the first. Now we can stop calling it Moon Swatch. We can start calling it the Swatch collaborations or the Swatch collabos. I was there at the very first subsequent watch release for the Swatch collabo with Blancpain. And man, even though I was one of the first people inside of the world to buy this watch, being that albeit that I was number 137 inside of the line, I'm talking about in the grand scheme of things, with me being located here in Tokyo, Japan, and with this being one of the first places to release behind New Zealand and Australia, I beat the whole Western world, as we say, with being able to buy this watch. And really, I should have been the first person out on YouTube with a video about this, but it was such a long night that by the time that I finally made it home with this thing in hand, I was knocked out. Couldn't do the video that day. I didn't do it the next day. And then I just had work for like days on end. Finally can sit down. This is Thursday, the week following the release of this watch, following that Saturday. So it's 5 days later. I'm finally getting to sit down now and make this video. Oh man, I'm not too happy with this thing. Here we go. Here goes the bag right here. It's a little bit different from the Moon Swatch bag, which is all red. But, this is just a regular Swatch bag. And let's pull that out of there. I'm going to tell you guys how I feel about this one immediately. I'm not going to save this for the end of the video. There goes the boxes right there. You could see that, if we put this at 100%, the Moon Swatch box is about 75% the size of this Blancpain watch. Let me move these Moonshine Gold boxes out of the way. Yeah, let me just put these to the side. Put those bad boys up there. Let me switch it around like that. All right, so I'm not very happy with my purchase, and there's a multitude of reasons for that. Had I got a better watch out of the five, maybe I would look a little bit more favorably upon it, but then I realize I've wasted a lot of money having bought four of these things now, and two of the most expensive ones, well, three of the most expensive ones if you include this, because it has that System 51 movement inside of here, which makes this the most expensive watch out of the Swatch collabos. And I realize with this money, even just the money that I spent on just this one Pacific Ocean, I could probably go out to Yodobashi Camera, which sells watches here inside of Japan. A whole lot of Seikos inside of that store. I could have gotten me a nice Seiko for the price that I paid for this. I'm talking about a real bona fide watch. And when the movement goes bad inside of it, or when something goes wrong with it, I could easily take it back to the store. Well, not back to the store, but I could take it to the manufacturer to get serviced, and it could keep on ticking for decades. When this thing fails, even with the System 51 movement inside, I don't think that this is a repairable watch. Maybe it is. Maybe they take out the whole movement and just stick in another whole movement inside of there. But it's not like they just repair parts and bits and pieces of it. So that's the problem. You can't just replace what's broken. You got to get the whole thing fixed, or just the whole thing replaced is what I wanted to say. So for the price that you're paying, which was $400, 60,000 Japanese yen, it's too expensive. All right. The first problem, I've realized that I just bought this thing based off of the hype. I was talking to Austin Daniels of Watch Symposium, and I was going through the motions when this was first announced, and we had photos and everything, and we were doing a lot of back and forth, and I said I was excited about it, and then I became that I wasn't excited about it. Or not that I wasn't excited about it, just that I could live without it is what I wanted to say. And ultimately, come the day before, on Friday night, my friend Marcelo had called me and said he's going. And he's going to buy it. And just for the sake, or for the fact that he was buying it, then I bought it too. Because the experience is a really nice experience. You know, I never waited outside for anything inside of my 40 years of life. Whether it be some type of PlayStation 2, 3, 4, 5 release, iPhone 10, 11, 12, 15, 100, whatever. I never waited outside for any product. But the very first time that I did do this was when I waited for the Moonshine Gold with the pink lume with Mr. Austin Daniels of Watch Symposium. And that was an experience, having been out since 5 a.m. in the morning and waiting until, I can't remember what time we bought the watch. I think it was like 5 in the afternoon, in the evening. So, you know, having waited 12 hours with somebody and having that experience and just sitting inside of, not lawn chairs, I don't want to say that, and inside of camping chairs, folding chairs, and just waiting out inside the sun and talking and just shooting the shit and relaxing and stuff like that. It was a good experience. So I thought, okay, it's a whole new watch. I'm with a new person and it's going to be a new experience. And I did enjoy the experience. But once I got the watch and I unboxed it right there on the street and I looked at it, I was disappointed. I was disappointed when I walked up to the store after having waited for 3 hours after them opening the shop. But I think I waited a total of 9 hours altogether. And when I made it to the front of the line and they have the display box with all 5 of them inside of there and I'm looking at them, I was like, I'm not really excited about this at all. There are 2 that I like a lot more than others, but overall, it was just not a satisfying piece. And the 2 that I really wanted were the 2 that were sold out. When I was talking about it previously with Austin Daniels, I had initially wanted the Atlantic Ocean first, which was the blue one, and I wanted the Pacific Ocean second, which is the one that I got, and that's the yellow one, and I wanted the white one, which is the Antarctic Ocean, third. But once I seen them visually with my own eyes inside of the store window, then I kind of flip-flop with 2 of them. I still wanted the Atlantic Ocean blue first, but I wanted the Antarctic Ocean white second. And the Pacific Ocean would be third, followed by the Arctic and the Indian Ocean. But those final 3, I kind of really don't want at all. And that includes this as one of the final 3. I take it that the Atlantic and the Antarctic Ocean were the 2 most popular ones, because as I had made it up there to the very front of the line, those were the 2 that were sold out. And being number 137 inside of the line, I had my choice, my pick of the litter of the three worst ones that were there. And the reason that I got the Pacific Ocean is because I'm here, boots on the ground in Japan. So there's some semblance there. But when it just comes to the beauty or the aesthetic of the watch, no, the aesthetic is okay. When it comes to the beauty of the watch, I'm just not satisfied with it. So now it's time to unbox this thing and take a look at it with you about why I'm unsatisfied. So there's there's four different components of box here. First, you got the slip cover. Move that out of the way. Then you got another hard slip cover that slides off. And then inside of here, you got this zip case, this travel carry case. Now, this is okay. The presentation of the unboxing is superb, it's sublime. But once you open it up to see this cheap toy watch inside of there, it's just not that fun anymore. And I put it on just once after I bought it, but I was like, man, I'm pretty sure I want to sell this thing, so I haven't really worn it aside from the fact of me just putting it on that once. Now, let me take my glasses off and look at this up close because there's things about this watch that I don't like. The main thing that I don't like about it, and the thing that turns me off the most, that makes me just feel like it's an absolute toy, is when I look at the dial. The hour markers are plastic, or it's loom surrounded by plastic. The loom is superb, by the way. When you put this thing inside of the dark and you have it charged up, it is absolutely bright and it's a very beautiful loom. But that's not enough to take away the fact that the beauty of it all is just not there, man. So before I get sidetracked and go off on a tangent, the thing that turned me off the most was the dial. When I look at the dial, especially of this Pacific Ocean one, it goes from a gradient of white to black on the edges. And the way that they do the gradient to make it get from light to dark, it's not a very smooth transition. It looks like somebody had taken a black ink pen and had just put in dots. And the closer you get to the outside edges, it just looks like those ink dots are more condensed or closer together. And when it gets closer to the center of the watch where it turns white, then they just start putting less dots until it kind of fades out and fades to white. But I could see this with the naked eye, and it's just not that appealing to me, just the way that the gradient is done. And when I look at the dial all together, now I'm not talking about the print of the Blancpain name or the Swatch name or the hour markers or the loom. I'm just talking about the dial insert, the white to black insert. It looks like it's made out of paper. And that's the thing that really turns me off about it. So when I see that paper-ish looking dial, and then I look at the quote-unquote bioceramic plastic, I'm just not that satisfied with it as a whole. Now, if this was a real watch, a real Blancpain watch that looked exactly like this, and this was made out of like some type of colored steel or whatever, if they could get this color somehow on a metal watch, and if this dial did not look like it was made out of paper, if it was made out of another material, I think it would be a lot more beautiful of a watch. But it just looks that cheap to me, and it's just kind of a turnoff. I'm looking at it now, and it looks a little bit better, and I got a little bit better of a feeling than I did when I took it out of the box right after I bought it. But still, I want to say overall, I'm not satisfied with it. Maybe had I gotten another watch, one of the two that I had highly desired, then maybe, just maybe we wouldn't be having this conversation, because just maybe we wouldn't. The blue one, it's nice and fun. It's a fun watch. It's colorful, but at the same time, if I wanted to put that on with my suit, it's not really going to draw that much attention to myself because it's not a loud watch. So, I could get by with wearing it with jeans, wearing it with shorts, or wearing it with a suit. It's a very versatile watch is what I wanted to say. The white watch is very loud, but it's a beautiful loud. So that is a watch that I would wear with just my sports clothing and casual clothing and casual wear and things like that. But this one right here, just that loud yellow and the cheap look to it, I just really don't feel like I want to wear it with much of anything, which is why I'm going to try to move this piece. Looking at this watch, I'm just overall really not that satisfied with it. And when I think about it, I'm really not that satisfied with a lot of my Moon Swatch or Swatch Collabo purchases. And it made me realize I do have the creme de la creme when it comes to the Moon Swatch, the one with the moonshine gold chronograph hand with the pink lume on there. So that one I'm definitely going to keep. But I feel like the rest of them that I bought, including the red one that I'm wearing and the other moonshine gold one that I have from a different month, I feel it's just extraneous purchases that I really don't need, and I'm really not going to wear it. So I need to stop purchasing these things, and I'm very interested in selling the 3 additional ones that I have. The 3 additional ones that I have means this plus this one plus one moonshine gold. So if anybody out there is interested, by the way, I have the strawberry moonshine gold one is the one that I want to sell. If you're interested in any of these watches, I would like for you guys to reach out to me. I'm going to put my email address right here. Just send me a message and post your interest. Now, I'm not going to go below retail on these because I haven't worn any of them. I haven't worn this. Well, that's kind of a lie. I haven't worn 2 of them. This one I have worn. So I'm willing to go a little bit less than retail. But this one I have not worn. So I'm not going to go under retail, but actually a little bit over because of the desirability of it at this point in time. The moonshine gold one, because it could never be bought ever again, that design. And it's a limited release. That one is also, and because I haven't worn it, it's also going to go over retail for that. So this is the only one that I'm willing to sell to you for a deal, but just reach out and make me an offer. But I do have prices in mind that if it's below that certain, if it doesn't meet that demand, then hey, I'm just not going to sell it. But all right, it is what it is. The things that I do like about it, I mean, I harped on it enough. Let me talk about what I do like about this watch. The bezel action is very good. For what this is, for as cheap as I was saying that this watch is, this bezel action is not cheap at all. If you guys can hear that, and if you could see and feel how smooth it goes, this is better than a lot of luxury watches. A lot of luxury watches in the $1,000 range. A lot of luxury watches in the $2,000 range. Maybe the reason it clicks so good is because it's made out of plastic. I don't know. Maybe that's the reason, because it's a very lightweight material, and the way that plastic is strong but yet flexible. Maybe that's why. But it clicks better than a lot of steel and precious metal watches of various brands. I do like the bezel. I'm not just talking about the feel of it, which I do love, but I'm also talking about the insert on this bezel. The bezel is lumed. That lights up very bright inside of the darkness. And the way that it sits inside of this It's not sapphire, but it's, I don't know what it is. It could be sapphire. It looks, let's just say that it's sapphire-ish. So it's a very nice bezel. The black is what I'm talking about, not the plastic part of it. This could have been a better watch. I wish they knew somehow how to make painted steel or colored steel, because I would have rather this been steel than this bioceramic, and I wish they would have did a better quality dial to this, and I think I would have loved it a lot more. The yellow's not that bad. This is a great color combination. It's just the plastic, and especially that dial just throws me off so much, is the reason that I'm not satisfied with this. One more thing about this before I close out this video, the System 51, how you wind this watch. You know, how to wind most watches, you're going to pull out the crown, you're going to pull out the stem, the crown, and you're going to turn it upwards. This one, you actually turn downwards towards you, and you don't pull out the stem at all, and it charges. And even this feels very good. The charging action is extremely nice. I'm charging it up right now. I forget how many days you get with this, but I think it's like a 9-day charge, or was it 91 hours? I forget. 9 days is kind of a bit of a stretch for any watch out there inside of the world. I think it's like a 91-hour charge, which is like about 4 days. That's a very long time. So for a very cheap movement, to compare this to like a cheap Seiko 4, what do they call it, a 4R movement, it's, let's say it's comparable to that in terms of, you know, the charge and lost time, how many lost minutes per day or seconds that you're going to get, whatever. Minutes. But okay, it's comparable in that sense, but just the sense that it's not repairable is probably going to be the deal breaker for some people. But yeah, man, it's okay. Some people love it. The guy that I bought the watch with, Marcelo, he is completely over the moon about his watch, and he loves this thing immensely, tremendously, and he's not disappointed or saddened with his purchase at all by any stretch of the imagination. And the final story that I'll say is when I bought this, and when I had arrived out there at 5:50 a.m. in the morning, there was actually a guy from New York City that was here, entered Japan, visiting for 1 week Tokyo, or all of Japan, Kyoto, Osaka, with his wife for the period of 1 week. And he recognized me from my moon swatch video, came up to me immediately at 5:50 a.m. in the morning and said hello. He pointed his iPhone towards me and showed me the video. He says, "Yo, is this you?" And being the standoffish guy that I am, you know, I don't like talking to strangers. But when he showed me a video of myself, you know, you got to say hello at that point in time. And you got to start, you know, breaking bread, because he recognized me. So I'm very happy about that. So I'd like to give a quick shout out to Aurora from Queens, who has been looking at my videos and was aware of me when he saw me on the spot. So shout out to you, sir. I hope that you're happy with your 2 purchases, because he went along with his wife, so he was able to get this one, the Pacific Ocean, and he got the Indian Ocean one. And the Indian Ocean one has some semblance to him, being that ethnically he is Indian, so that watch means something to him. But he's happy with both of his purchases as well. And during his whole time here on this 7-day trip in Japan, he had bought 10 out of the 11 moon swatch watches. He bought all of them with the exception of Neptune, but he bought all of these watches here in one go. You think about the money that you spend and waste on things like this. I'm not saying that he wasted his money, but I'm saying the money that you spend on these watches, for the price that he paid, for a few $100s more, he could have got himself a real Speedmaster, which is mind-boggling. It's just mind-boggling. And it's the same thing in my situation. Having bought all four of these, I could have bought a over $1,000 luxury watch, but just, kind of touching on near the 200,000 Japanese yen. In my currency, more than likely, I could have got something. I could have got a very nice King Seiko. I could have got a nice Seiko Presage with money to spare. And I think that's what I should have went for. I think I'm done with these collabo pieces. If I could switch this up and get one of the ones that I desire, and maybe get the white or the blue, if I look at it more closely, I might be willing just to stick around and stick with one, like I'm sticking with one moon swatch. And if they came out with a Seamaster, I would get the best version of that, but I'm not going to have a whole collection sitting around of all of these watches, if you know what I mean. I think one is enough, a one and done. And you could say you have it. You have your Hype Beast piece that you could wear around with your Air Jordan sneakers and all of that, and your Hype Beast Supreme t-shirt clothing and all that shit, right? But overall, you only need one of them. But realistically, you could probably do with none of them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that has been my long form review over the Pacific Ocean Bioceramic Scuba 50 Fathoms Blancpain X Swatch Collabo. Man, this thing just has so many names to it. Where do you end? But I would like to thank you guys for watching. Salute to you wherever you may be out inside the world. And as always, gentlemen, you guys know what to do. Keep it classy. I'm out.